Some of the best matchups all season are on tap in Week 2 of the Dream Season Football League, beginning with two ball clubs, each without a win this year. The 0-1 Rams and the 0-1 Dolphins. It's 23-10 St. Louis before the Dolphins begin to mount a comeback with very little time left. 4th down and 10. Marino looking down the field all sorts of time and finds his man Nat Moore down the field. We'd hear his name again on this possession. 2nd and goal from the 1-yard line with just 9 seconds to go. Marino finds Nat Moore. It's their first touchdown connection all year. Now the Dolphins need to hope for an onside kick and then a heave to the end zone. First the onside on the way, but we're covered by the Rams, and the Dolphins, despite the second most yards in the NFL this year, will fall to 0-2 after a 6-point loss in the hands to the St. Louis Rams. Both the Patriots and the Cowboys won their Week 1 games and very easily could represent their respective conferences as the #1 seed going into the playoffs. Very, very talented ball clubs. We could see this matchup again. First quarter, down the sideline, Wes Welker all the way to the end zone for a touchdown to keep things close between the Patriots and the Cowboys. It was 16-7 Dallas before the Patriots start to mount a comeback. Welker with 2 touchdown grabs, and they pull ahead. It's a 17-16 Patriot lead. Late in the 3rd quarter, Staubach finds Drew Pearson for a touchdown to take the lead again. It's a 24-17 ball game after a 2-point conversion. Now the Cowboys get the football back, but a pivotal moment in this game is where James Sanders, safety for the Patriots, intercepts Staubach and returns it all the way back for a touchdown. And now we're tied, even though the Cowboys are somewhat dominating this game in the stat book. And then on the very next possession, another fumble just 2 plays into this drive, and it's recovered by James Sanders again. Then after a field goal, Patriots have the football, handoff to Lawrence Maroney, and he's into the end zone. That's touchdown number 4 for Maroney in the first 2 weeks. Then the Cowboys on their next possession, Staubach is sacked, he'll fumble the football, and the Cowboys lose this very pivotal Week 2 matchup as the Patriots defense was all over the place. New England improves to 2-0. The 1986 Browns and the 1997 Green Bay Packers, both of these teams combined for just 1 offensive touchdown in their games last week combined. Well, these teams had 794 yards passing and 7 touchdowns in this matchup as Bernie Kosar finds Brian Brennan down the sideline. He would finish the day with 8 catches for 202 yards in that score. Browns lead 26-9 midway through the 3rd quarter. Then Green Bay would begin to fire back. Derek Mays with a 52-yard catch and run to cut this thing down to just 2 possessions. Then Aaron Hayden, who replaces Dorsey Levens, who only had 17 yards in their loss last week to the Patriots, scores a touchdown, and the Browns trail for the first time today before Curtis Dickey catches the pass from Kosar, and the Browns have a lead with just a hair over 4 minutes left. Then Brett Favre back to throw with a chance to take the lead, throws an errant pass. It's picked off by Michaels, and the interception would lead towards a touchdown, and the Browns lead 42-30 with under 2 minutes left. Now on a 2nd and 4, Favre is trying to engineer a late scoring drive to try to cut this thing to 1 possession, but on a 4th and 10, Favre is looking, fires underneath, and that is your ball game. Bernie Kosar throws 4 passing touchdowns in an aerial assault, and Brian Brennan is your player of the game. The Browns are 1-1. Cincinnati flat out dominated the St. Louis Rams in their Week 1 win. Now they traveled to Chicago to take on a rowdy Bears bunch. 6-3 Bengals early on in the 3rd quarter, and yet again another deep play by Rodney Holman. It's capped off by the tight end's 3rd receiving touchdown in the first 2 weeks as he's into the end zone, and the Bengals take a commanding 13-3 lead. Late in the 3rd quarter, McMahon trying to drive down the field finds Emory Moorhead, and on the first play of the 4th quarter, the Bears score their first touchdown of the season offensively as Walter Payton rambles into the end zone. It's 13-10 Bengals, but under 4 minutes to go. Cincinnati engineers a long drive capped off by the touchdown. Then on the ensuing kickoff, this is the dagger. They fumble recovered by Gerald Riggs, tight end of the Bengals, and Cincinnati is 2-0 in the Dream Season Football League. Very rare success for the Bengals in the DSFL. Meanwhile, the Bears, rare for them as well, fall to 0-2 early this year. Another team accustomed to playoff success, in fact overall DSFL success, the Buffalo Bills, lost in real dramatic fashion last week against the Dallas Cowboys and are looking for a comeback win against the Philadelphia Eagles, but it got off to a rough start as Freddie Mitchell runs 80 yards on the first play of the day. The touchdown gives the Eagles a 7-0 lead into the second quarter. Then McNabb, who swings it out to his running back, coughs up the football, recovered by DSFL superstar Nate Odoms, and is into the end zone. The Bills cut the lead to 6. Then, with 58 seconds to go, it's Kelly who finds his main man, James Lofton, and the Bills reclaim the lead at 17-16 late. The Bills need a couple first downs to seal it, the first one to Thurman Thomas. Then on 3rd and 3, this the ball game, Kelly finds his tight end McKellar, and that will save the day. The Buffalo Bills avoid an 0-2 start as they crawl back to 500, 17-16 your final. Not many people remember that the Pittsburgh Steelers played in a 14-game season, and 7 of those 14 games were shutouts. They completely annihilated their teams on the defensive side of the football, but so far this year, Pittsburgh has been extremely lethargic on the offensive side. 7-6 Redskins, they allow one huge play down the field. Charlie Brown with an 80-yard catch and is into the end zone, and the Redskins lead by a commanding 14-6 margin. But the Pittsburgh Steelers were not done just yet. After a Franco Harris touchdown, his first on the season, Terry Bradshaw tries to engineer a late drive, but he's picked off, and that is the ball game as the Pittsburgh Steelers fall back to 1-1 on the year after the loss. Both the Oakland Raiders and the Minnesota Vikings trailed with just about a minute to go in their games last week. Were able to pull it out and are both undefeated coming into this matchup. The Vikings, who trailed by 6 after 2 field goals after Raider trips into the red zone. It's Cunningham who finds the end zone on a quarterback keeper, and the Vikings lead by a point, 10-9 our score, late in the third quarter. Now 2nd and 9 after a long drive by Cunningham. He zips it over the middle to Carter, and 46 yards later, one of the most dangerous receivers in all of the National Football League hauls in his 3rd receiving touchdown in the first 2 weeks, and the Vikings claim an 8-point lead. Now, early on in the fourth quarter, the Raiders try and engineer a drive. Kenny Stabler, a very effective 200 yards passing today, but could not find Cliff Branch on the sideline. And back we go to the Vikings' Randall Cunningham. It was 6 minutes left. Another deep drive for Cunningham to make this a 2-possession game as he finds Moss down the field for over 40 yards, and the Vikings claim another field goal. Now 20-9 Minnesota leads, and under a minute to go. This basically is for the game after Stabler is incomplete on a 3rd down and 16. It's 4th down, and this for all the chips on the table, and over the middle it's incomplete, intended for Casper, and the Vikings will be the only NFC team in the dream season who is still unbeaten at 2-0. Raiders fall to 1-1. This game was without question the game of the week. The Niners and the Colts, 2 teams that very easily will match up in the Dream Bowl 3, given that everything goes well for them this year. 2 very talented ball clubs match up here in Sunday Night Football for week number 2. Colts lead by 9, but on the last play of the third quarter, Montana finds John Taylor for a touchdown. And now the Colts only have a 2-point lead. But on the very next possession, Indianapolis, one of the worst offenses in football so far this season, is able to score a touchdown. Morale finds Mate for their first touchdown receiving connection. And now the lead is increased to 9, but Montana wasn't done just yet as he finds Burt Jones for 27. And on 1st and goal, Montana, after literally he could check his Facebook 10 times over in that pocket, finds Jerry Rice in the end zone. That'll be his 2nd touchdown this year, and the Niners only trail by 2. 1 first down to win this game, and they do just that as Mate wins it for him. We very easily can see this matchup again. For the meantime, the Colts are 2-0. Weeks 1 and 2 are already in the books. Now let's transfer over to week number 3, including 2 marquee matchups. The Washington Redskins and Indianapolis Colts face off in Indy in what should be a battle of 2 potential playoff teams. Then the Dolphins and the Niners. Can Miami win their first game of the season? That's all coming up week number 3. Then the game balls for the first 2 weeks of the season. Boomer Esiason and Brian Brennan off to red-hot starts to the Dream Season Football League.